Hey, if you like what you hear today on our Splitting Hairs podcast episode and you'd like to hear more content from us, please visit our Patreon page, patreon.com/splittinghairs, and become a member. And by becoming a member, you'll receive very exclusive benefits. How about that, Max?
That's cool.
All right. Welcome back to Splitting Hairs with Max and Nicky.
As usual, I'm Max.
And I'm Nicky.
And together we're
Max and Nicky.
On today's episode, we'll be discussing vegetables. What's our favorite vegetables? Or vegetable?
Yeah, we're going to talk about all sorts of vegetables.
We previously had discussed fruits.
And we thought, hey, why not do an episode on vegetables? Actually, I thought of that, and I told Max, and Max said, now you're using your noggin, Nicky. They don't call me Nick Noggin for nothing.
That's true.
They don't call me Nick Noggin for nothing.
Let's see.
Well, how about that alliteration for you? Anyway, we've got a good discussion on vegetables coming up for you, but before we do that, we got some station business for you.
Station business. Dun, dun, dun. Station business.
We've got a few things to mention. First and foremost, we have our solo two-man show coming up on...
Our solo two-man show.
That's right. It's called Max and Nicky, a 60s variety show, and that's going to be happening on Wednesday, October 6th, 2021 at Union Hall in Brooklyn. And you can get your tickets now. It's up on the Union Hall website unionhallny.com. Just scroll down to
October 6th and at 7:30 and you'll see
the show that you're supposed to buy tickets for. And if you're interested, it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to be doing some comedy bits. We're going to do some heartfelt songs. Choreography,
some whistling,
show some videos. It's going to be an all-out variety blowout session, and so it's going to be a lot of fun. What else we got going? We've got the
four-year anniversary of Vintage Basement with Max and Nicky live, and
it's our first in-person show back after live streaming Vintage Basement for the past year and a half or so.
And boy, that's going to be exciting. We got some.
Heavy hitters on it.
Some real heavy hitters on it. We got Mark Normand, we got Sydney Washington,
and we got Rob Cantrell,
and we have a very special guest on as well. Mm-hmm. And you can currently buy tickets for that at
frigid.nyc.
That's right.
Just go to the calendar on that. Or you can just go to our website, maxandnicky.com.
Is that on there already?
Yeah, well, you go to maxandnicky.com/vintage-basement. maxandnicky.com/vintage-basement, and you just click on the appropriate link that's there, and it'll take you to where you can buy tickets for that.
Or you can just go to maxandnicky.com
and then hit the Vintage Basement
Basement tab.
And anyway, that'll be a very fun lineup. That's going to be on Monday, September 20th at the Crane Theater in the East Village of Manhattan.
We normally, for those of you who have been regulars at Vintage Basement in the past, we normally have it at Under St. Mark's Theater, but that is it's under construction right now because there was a fire above them and there's some water damage.
So we'll be back in that space maybe in October.
Maybe in October.
Definitely by November. But until then, we're at the Crane Theater.
Their sister theater is the Crane Theater, which is a little bit of a bigger theater.
It'll be a lot of fun. Get your tickets now while you still can. And great lineup, and we're excited.
And just a heads up, vaccination is required. Proof of vaccination is required to attend the show.
Actually, both shows we just mentioned, proof of vaccination is required to
yes.
enter the venues.
And also, I believe one should bring a mask, too, for the Crane Theater for sure on that one.
And last but not least, we're going to be in Los Angeles next week. We're going to be there for maybe a week and a half, and
but bring a mask for both,
We're going to be
Be safe.
Okay.
You know?
We're going to be in Los Angeles from September 6th through...
What is that flying around? Is there something flying around?
Okay. Well, we're going to be in Los Angeles from September 6th to the 14th. And we're going to be doing a few shows there. We're going to be doing something called Better Half Comedy. I think it's like a backyard kind of show. It's very popular. And so
Is that true?
Yeah. So that'll be a lot of fun. We're also and that'll be on Monday, that'll be on September 6th, actually, the night of September 6th. And then we're going to be doing a show at Dynasty Typewriter, Dynasty Tonight. That'll be on Saturday, September 11th. And then finally, we're going to do a show at the Improv in Hollywood, California. It'll be the main room. It'll be at 7:30 p.m. on September 12th. And so that should be a lot of fun. Doing a few shows. Catch us at one of them. Catch us at all of them. Whatever you feel like doing. We'd love to see you in the audience. All right, I think we're ready to get this show started, huh?
Anything else you need to mention beforehand?
I don't think so. Let's just get into it.
Anything else you need to mention beforehand? That's kind of how Keanu Reeves talks now. He's sort of like this, sort of.
All right, I think we're ready to move on to the meat of the show, the core of what this show is about today. Vegetables.
The meat byproducts of the show.
Well, you know...
We're gonna get to the meat of the show, vegetables.
Right. So, I should preface by saying that, unfortunately, most of the vegetables I love to eat, I cannot eat right now. My diet is very limited right now. It's hard to deal with. I'm trying to get to the meat and the root of that problem. But right now, I'm just on a very strict diet of just eating basically meat and lettuce and sometimes pistachios.
Can I ask a question?
What?
Do I care?
You don't care about my problems that have been affecting me? I'm having allergic type reactions to almost everything I eat. It's really a serious problem, and it's hard to deal with.
What I'm saying is it necessary to tell the podcast this stuff?
Maybe not, but maybe people will be interested, and maybe I can help people learn. Maybe they deal with the same kind of problems, and they can learn.
And then we can experience together. Maybe you guys can... You can have a support group.
Sure.
Maybe this whole podcast, maybe the whole reason we started this in the first place was to create a support group.
Anyway, Max, what's your favorite vegetable?
Well, let's see. Let's think about it. I actually haven't done a whole lot of thinking about it since you mentioned it.
Oh, well, why don't you ask me? Because I have.
Okay, Nicky, what's your favorite vegetable?
I gotta say...
my vegetables. That's a Beach Boys song. It's really good.
Well, yes, but it was re-released by Brian Wilson on his album Smile, which came out in 2004.
It originally appeared on Smiley Smile, which came out after the Abandoned project that Brian Wilson had really wanted. That the Beach Boys originally wanted. Why is that funny? Anyway. The Beach Boys originally wanted to release...
Not the Beach Boys.
Brian Wilson originally wanted the Beach Boys to release an album called Smile, which was going to be another concept album.
Like Pet
Sounds. But I guess it just was stuck in production hell. And also the other Beach Boys were not for the topics
experimentation
and
but not
lyrics
that. I mean, I think what pushed it over the edge was Pet Sounds, I guess, apparently didn't sell as well in America, and so they were like, okay, right. And so Mike Love was like, all right, you happy? Let's get back to what we do best. And Mike Love, he's just
no good.
He's not a likable guy. He didn't know what he was doing. He didn't realize the genius of Pet Sounds until people started praising it years later, you know?
Right.
Even though it was a big hit in England at the time, you know?
Well,
the Brits really loved it.
Just to give you an idea what they were, how ridiculous. I mean, they all were really... I mean, look, Brian Wilson was also dissatisfied with the sales in America. But guess what that meant, the dissatisfaction for them? Being number 10 on the Billboard charts, something like that. It's not like they were doing horribly or anything.
Right.
It's just like, it's all relative, you know. It's just ridiculous. I mean,
you know, at least Brian Wilson can safely say that people do realize the genius of Pet Sounds now, which is, and it didn't take very long for people to realize the genius of Pet Sounds.
No, I mean, Paul McCartney has been on record as saying that
God Only Knows
is his favorite song of all time. But anyway,
I saw an interview with Paul McCartney with what's his name, Ronnie Wood.
Oh, Ronnie Wood
from Rolling Stones, and he's like, so he's like, Ronnie Wood's like, so what would your favorite song have to be? I guess, and he's like, it'd be like,
you got to do
he's
more
like,
Ronnie Wood is more like, so what would be your favorite
so what
song?
would be your favorite song, Paul? And he's like, I'd probably have to say, God Only Knows. And he's like, and then Ronnie Wood's like,
I'd probably have to say God Only Knows.
and then Ronnie Wood's like, he's like,
probably have to say
from Pet Sounds.
from Pet Sounds.
From Pet Sounds. And he's like, and then Paul McCartney's like, right, from Pet Sounds. And I'm like, the words they choose to emphasize in England, sometimes it sounds funny because we say Pet Sounds. We give equal emphasis to both words. And I think that kind of sums up the neutral American accent is very, almost sometimes robotic. It's very... there's not as much cadence. Whereas like, especially with an English accent.
Pet is a little more emphasized. Pet sounds. The reason I would emphasize pet over sounds is because pet would be more the operative word in there. You know, it's like, what kind of sounds? Pet sounds.
Pet sounds. Pet sounds.
But anyway, it's always, I don't know if you've ever seen those interviews that Ronnie Wood conducts. It's just, compared to Paul McCartney, it's just like, I mean, I hate to say it, just seems like, well, who took better care of themselves throughout the years? It seems like Paul McCartney has. I mean, it's just interesting.
Ronnie Wood, you know, he was in a group called Faces with, what's his face, you know?
With
you know, do you think I'm sexy?
Do you think I'm sexy?
What is his name?
God,
why am I just not even
blanking on
thinking?
this? I know.
Well,
let's go through the alphabet. A, B, C,
hold on.
D, E, F, G, H. All right, Rod Stewart. See, it does help go through the alphabet when you forget, when you just blank on something that is so common knowledge. And you're like, why can't I think of the name right now? Like the other day, somebody asked me what the name of somebody I knew very well was, and I could not think of the name for some reason. And I don't know what it was. I mean, could something be happening to me? I hope not. But sometimes it just happens. You've got a lot of information to process at one time sometimes. And so something that's such common knowledge, it goes to the recesses of your brain. And what helps me, a good trick, is to just go through the alphabet, and by the time you reach the letter that starts the name that you're trying to think of, you'll think of that name.
Yeah.
It works almost, I would say, 90% of the time.
I do that, and actually, apparently, it's a certain type of person that does that. I remember doing it in AP Psychology. We were taking like a certain personality test. This was in high school, and it would ask questions like, it might have been I forgot, maybe an EQ test, an IQ test, or a personality test or something like that. And one of the questions was, do you go through the alphabet to try and remember something? And I'm like, yeah, I do that. And that was I thought that was kind of an interesting thing.
Was it interesting what you just said, though?
Yes.
Well, anyway, what I wanted to say was Rod Stewart and Ronnie Wood, they were in the band Faces together in the 70s, and they looked exactly the same, except one had dark hair and one had blonde hair. I mean, it looked like they were twins or something. It looks kind of funny. I feel like they kind of have a funny look, too, you know?
Right, but it is kind of funny to see that.
Of course, Faces, by the way, grew out of the band Small Faces from the 60s.
But Small Faces did not include Ronnie Wood and and Rod Stewart.
Right.
It's funny. You think that you would have remembered Rod Stewart immediately because Ronnie Wood,
And Rod.
I mean, they also look like each other, similar hairstyles. But anyway, as we all know, Ronnie Wood went on to play with the Rolling Stones later on. And it's just kind of interesting to see, like, it almost is like he's inhabited this kind of, it's almost like maybe he's influenced by Keith Richards or something like that, and his just, like, mannerisms or something, or just sort of, I don't know how much maybe drug use they've done over the years, but he almost seems like he's in a constant, when he's doing these interviews, he almost seems like he's,
All right.
I don't know. I don't want to bash anybody, but just funny,
it's funny. I was watching an interview with I think it was Dan Castellaneta and Harry Shearer, and they were talking about how they had they had Keith Richards and Mick Jagger on as guest voices of The Simpsons, and they got to meet them, and they said the difference between Mick Jagger and Keith Richards was like night and day, and they spend a lot of time together, or they have in the past, and they said Mick Jagger was very quiet and to himself, and he just wanted to just go in a separate room by himself and do his lines, and then Keith Richards comes in, and he's like really loud and like, just, he's like, all right, where's the drink? Like, everybody join me. Like, he wanted people around him, and he's like, so it was interesting. Anyway.
By the way, just, Charlie Watts passed away recently, and we just, our condolences to...
Okay. I guess.
I
mean, we're obviously...
all those who...
sure, Charlie Watts, he started...
Influenced by him, and...
He was actually started off as a jazz musician, you know that? And
he also was... Because you mentioned a quiet Rolling Stone, and he was probably the most quiet of all, or was the quietest of all of them, and also kept to himself, and he was the most tame, or the tamest of all of them, I guess.
But, we're more, I mean, it's not to diminish anything about the Rolling Stones, but we are more of Beatles kinds of fans, And,
well, yeah, sure, but not to say that there aren't some good Rolling Stones tunes.
Sure, but I've never been the biggest Rolling Stones fan,
Well, I'm not the biggest Rolling Stones fan, but I think that there's some good stuff by the Rolling Stones.
Sure, but it's kind of like you got the Beatles, you got the Rolling Stones all the way down there.
Well, I mean, it's not like all the way down there. It's just more like, I mean, I'm not going to rank them for you, but I got, the Beatles. Look,
when it comes down to it, is we place a lot more emphasis, and we care a lot more about strong melodies, and I feel like the Rolling Stones was more about attitude, not to say that they don't have a few tunes that are melodic, like She's a Rainbow. I like that song.
Anyway, Charlie Watts, rest in peace, Charlie Watts.
Right, but I think Charlie Watts might have been the coolest out of all of them.
He was always the sharpest dressed. I think he was often on the best dressed lists, those best dressed lists. And but he also just seemed like, I like that he was into jazz. I think that's cool. And I think he opened a jazz drummer. I think he opened a jazz club too.
Anywho, rest in peace, Charlie Watts. But, we digress, obviously, as we do on Splitting Hairs.
Tangents are formed, or tangents are made.
But let's get back to vegetables. What's my favorite vegetables? Because
what's your favorite vegetable?
What's my favorite vegetables?
What's your favorite vegetable, Nicky?
I got to say, it's got to be broccoli, probably. Broccoli, I love broccoli. Now, I don't care for broccoli raw.
Not to be confused with broccoli rabe.
That's true. But I love even just boiling it. That can bring out the flavors of the broccoli, and just put a lightly salted boiled broccoli. That can be very good. But I also like broccoli sautéed, and
like broccoli raw?
No, I don't.
Oh, sorry. I wasn't paying attention.
Actually, I was thinking about it. I don't know that I like any vegetables raw.
What are you talking about? I like lettuce.
I'd rather have some oil and salt on it.
Oh, recently, guys, I've been having my salads just nothing on it.
If we're talking about that, then I mean, I think then butter lettuce is my favorite vegetable, then, because it just, you can have anything with it. You know, I love butter lettuce. It's my favorite of the lettuces, or the lettuce. No, just kidding.
Okay.
But I do really like broccoli. I also really like cauliflower. But, you know, sometimes it's harder to find cauliflower that doesn't go bad fast. I know this sounds boring, I guess.
Oh my goodness.
I love broccoli and love cauliflower. Broccoli.
What about it do you like?
Here's my ideal meal. Steak, a nice juicy steak with some broccoli, from steamed broccoli.
Steamed broccoli.
And maybe sauteed a little bit in the juices of the steak. Mm-hmm. A nice ribeye steak with some broccoli.
Okay, what's my favorite vegetable?
Well, let me think if there's all right, what's your favorite vegetable?
Well, I would have to say, I mean, I like having salads. That's one of my favorite things to have. And so, you know, I think we might go with I love butter lettuce is very good, but also maybe what are they called? Baby gems? Is that what that's called?
Little gems?
Little gems. Yeah, that's nice. I like those. You know, I like spinach.
You know, I used to think I liked spinach, but I can't even have spinach right now. As I talked about before, my problems. There's a lot of histamine in spinach. And a lot of histamine gets released when you eat spinach. But spinach, I realize it makes my teeth very
it has
chalky sound.
There's a bitterness
feeling.
to it.
Yeah, there's a chalky feeling after eating the spinach, and I don't like that.
No, I like spinach with stuff.
I love butter lettuce.
Butter lettuce is very good.
Butter lettuce is the better lettuce.
But is it the best for you?
Actually, the best for you is probably
kale, spinach.
No, kale is definitely not the best for you.
Really, kale is very good for you.
It's not always. Some people think it's not actually.
I looked it up. It is good.
No, it's not actually. It cannot be good sometimes. Anyway, I actually think that romaine lettuce might be the healthiest for you.
I love romaine lettuce.
But spinach is also very healthy. If you want those beta carotenes, that spinach is for you, you know. But the thing about that is, you know, beta carotenes, that's what makes you turn a different color, you know. Or, you know, sweet potatoes and carrots, they're high in beta carotenes.
Carrots. Now, I was going to say carrots are another one of my favorite vegetables.
Really? Oh my God, not at all.
If they are sautéed, or if I get a little bit of a ranch with them.
Now, here's the thing, guys.
That reminds me of snacks when I was younger.
You don't want to overdo it with those high beta carotene vegetables. Let me tell you why. During the quarantine, I was kind of eating a lot of sweet potato chips.
Yeah, and Nicky turned orange.
My skin was turning orange. I thought it was because I was going out in the sun a lot, and I thought I was like getting a tan, but it turned out I was just eating a lot of sweet potato chips.
Nicky was like, because I was like, why is Nicky?
Well, I really wanted to do my best Trump impression, I guess.
Nicky was like looking tanner than me, and he's like, it's because I'm going outside more than you, and I'm like, yeah, but you look like really like. And then we started looking at his hands and feet, and it was like looking yellow, and I was like, what, are you getting yellow?
They call me mellow yellow.
But it was like kind of like a situation where it was kind of like, it's like violet, you're turning violet. Orange, you're turning orange. Meaning Nicky new name was going to be Orange.
Nicky, you're turning Nicky.
Or yellow, you're turning yellow.
Nicky, are you going yellow? Are you getting yellow on me?
Are you getting yellow on me? Yellow?
They would do that in the 30s.
That back in the day.
Yellow, you would, if you watch like Little Caesar with Edward G. Robinson, he'd say something like that. Sam, you getting yellow on me?
Edward G. Robinson.
Well, Edward G. Robinson was, you know, known for playing a lot of gangsters back in the 30s, and you know, he had funny expressions or sayings. They said some funny things back then, like, Sam, you can dish it out, but you're getting so you can't take it no more. And things like that.
I'm a little Shane. I'm a little man with a big gun, Shane. Mother of mercy, is this the end of Rico?
Mother of mercy, is this the end of Rico?
Anyway, carrots can be very good.
And if you're watching the video, by the way, Edward G. Robinson looked like this, you know.
No, it's more like
Actually, interestingly enough, if you don't know, the character of Chief Wiggum in The Simpsons, Hank Azaria based that voice off of Edward G. Robinson's voice. It was kind of
originally
sort of a bastardized impression of Edward G. Robinson.
That's right, but I think it became a little bit more maybe higher pitched a little.
More nasally, I would say.
After a couple seasons, because I think he wanted to make him. I'm not sure what his reasoning was, but it seems like he wanted to make him seem more like a pig in a way.
Well, we have been sort of rewatching a lot of The Simpsons lately, seasons 1 through 8. Of course, it became a totally different show after season 8, especially after the middle of season 9. It really became a different show. But those first 8 seasons is one of my top 5 favorite shows of all time. Seasons 1 through 8, just clarifying. And you really see the characters and the voice actors really bring those voices into their own, starting around the end of the second season into the third season. You really hear them
there's some
really find the niche for those guys.
I used to think the second half of season 2 to season 8 were my favorite, but there's some really funny stuff in season 1 and the first half of season 2. And I actually think the animation in season 1 is really interesting. They're very stretchy and kind of a lot more malleable, which is interesting.
I think one of the first episodes of season 2 is very funny. It's where Homer's hair, he gets a new mane of hair.
It's very funny.
It's a really funny. Harvey Firestein does a voice on it, and his character is really funny.
Oh, it's very funny, and it's also kind of this interesting, almost like his fairy godfather kind of a thing.
Sure.
What's the word I'm looking for? Your guardian angel. He's kind of like a guardian angel kind of a thing for him. I just wanted to check something.
But even season 1 has got some great episodes, like Marge on the Fast Lane. I think that's what it's called, where Marge takes bowling lessons from a guy named Jacques, who's voiced by Albert Brooks. Jacques is very funny. In fact, Albert Brooks, one of the best guest actors on The Simpsons. I think so. In the 5th season, he does a voice of a guy named Brad something.
Brad Sherman, I think.
Brad something like that.
Yeah.
He's like a motivational speaker, and apparently,
Nicky, just a heads up. When you sitting like this, it looks like you're just trying to sit away from me. I noticed that.
Apparently, Albert Brooks improvised a lot of his lines on the spot for that, and they just decided to keep...
for that? No, I thought it was for the Hank Scorpio episode.
No, it was for that. And they just kept it in because he was just so funny, you know?
They certainly did that with the Hank Scorpio one, too, and it's really funny. He's like... I think one of the improvised lines was...
Oh, you're right. It was, the Hank Scorpio where he's like... You see, you got the hammer cut on 4th. You got... You got Maggie's hammock.
No, it's like Lucy's hammock.
You got Lucy's hammock. She gets in the hammock with you.
And he's like, haha, just kidding around. But it's just his whole thing.
And he's like, in fact, they got a whole center for hammocks. And then Homer's like, oh, the hammock district. And he's like, that's it.
Yeah, it's...
and that was a season 8 episode. And so there were some funny episodes in season 8. Actually, there were a lot of funny episodes in season 8.
No, that's why we say season 8's included in
Well, I was thinking about it.
But you do start to see... I will say, in season 8, you do start to see some
hints of
what is to come that wasn't as big of a fan of, but there definitely was certainly great episodes like that.
I was thinking about how I would rank the seasons of The Simpsons recently, and I think I would ultimately this is how I would do it. I would go season 4 is the best one.
Season 4,
Up until recently, I said season 5 was, but I actually think season 4, and
season 3.
No, definitely not season 3.
What do you mean? No, definitely not season 3.
No.
Homer at Bat is one of my favorite episodes.
Let me finish.
Is Last Texas Springfield? That's season 4.
Yeah.
Season 4 is the best.
And here's the thing: is Homer's Barbershop Quartet and Cape Fear and Homer Goes to College. I think Cape Fear is included in that. Those were all part of the production for season 4, and they were leftover episodes that they just included in season 5. So I kind of include those with season 4 because after season 4, Conan O'Brien got his own show, his own talk show, but he did write Homer Goes to College anyway, which appeared in season 5.
Oh, is that how it worked? No, that you're not correct about that completely. It was during the production of season 5. Actually, he got his show.
No, that is not
it
right.
is.
That is not right at all. That is not right.
Yes, it is.
No, it wasn't. That's not right.
Why do you think that?
It was at the end of season 4. He got his own show.
That's not true.
He found out he got his own show.
No.
In May of 93, he found out he got his own show. Trust me. And the show started in September of that year. Trust me. I know what I'm talking about.
Are you sure?
100%.
Are you sure?
Look, Homer Goes to College, that's the last episode that Conan O'Brien had a writing credit on. That was the 3rd episode of the 5th season. And it was left over from the production of season 4.
So basically, but for some reason, I thought Conan O'Brien was on. I thought he has said he was there for 2 years.
He was there for 2 years.
No, he was there for 1 year then.
No.
Season 4, that's it.
What are you talking about? He was there for season 3. A lot of season 3.
No, he was not.
Yes, he was, dude.
No, he wasn't.
I bet you $100. He wasn't there for all of season 3, but he was there for a lot of season 3. Maybe the second half of season 3. But
none of his episodes were in season 3.
So it doesn't matter. He only had, I think, 3 episodes, 4 episodes that he had an actual writing, like his credit as a writer was on it, as the head writer.
I don't think you're right about this, actually.
Max, I'm telling you I'm right, okay? I'm telling you I'm right.
I'm going to look this up.
Anyway, so this is how I would rank my seasons. I would go season 4 is the best one. Then season 5, close second place. Then I'd probably go season 6. And then I would go season 3. Then I go season 7. Then season 8. Then season 2. Then season 1. And then the rest of them don't count because they're not a part of the show that I view as The Simpsons. So what about you, Max? I know this is not an episode on The Simpsons, really. I hope Max is paying attention to me. I mean, if you're watching the video, he's looking something up, and it's like, he's just leaving me here in the weeds, I'm just talking to myself, I guess.
Leaving you in the weeds?
I guess I could be like one of these guys that has their own podcast, they just rant. So I'm going to rant for a little bit.
That's right. There you go. Keep doing.
So vegetables, I don't understand these people. They say they don't like vegetables, and I'm like, have you even tried a vegetable? Have you tried vegetables? When you're a kid,
by the way,
you don't like vegetables.
Just to comment, season 3 includes a streetcar named Marge. That is so funny, that episode.
So what are you trying to say?
Season 3 is great.
I know it is. When you're a kid, you say, why is it that kids don't like vegetables? I don't understand that. Is it because they look weird? Is it because they look like tree or like broccoli looks like trees?
Well, anyway, so
I mean,
what do you mean kids? Well, kids don't. They just want sugary treats,
right? But you certainly like salty things, right?
Well,
as a kid,
I know, and vegetables are not salty.
You're not going to eat. Certainly, if you get cooked dinner, that the vegetables are not going to be. They're going to be raw. Are you telling me that?
It's not just that. I remember eating broccoli when I was younger and thinking, I don't like this. It doesn't taste good to me.
Right. And then somewhere along the way, I grew to love it.
But you asked me, what is my favorite? Okay, so I did say lettuce.
Did you hear my rankings, by the way?
Of The Simpsons, yes.
Seasons.
Season 4, then season 5,
yeah.
Then season 3.
No.
6?
Yeah.
Really? I don't agree with this at all. Then season 3?
Yeah.
Incorrect.
Well, maybe season 3.
Season 3 is so funny. Homer at Bat is in that season.
Look,
Mr.
I know, but
Is it Mr. Lisa Goes to Washington or Miss Lisa Goes to Washington? That's really funny. That's the first episode of the season. There's a lot of good.
I know, but it just there's
Streetcar Named Marge. I mean, that's so funny.
Look, there's also there's the one where the Germans take over the plant, and that's really funny. Where
Jeff Martin, I think, is a really good writer. He usually did the ones where there was a musical number involved, and just it's so funny him parroting this kind of a play that's adapted into a musical that you wouldn't think would be adapted into a musical, and he does it so well. It's so funny. I think it's really funny. That's a good.
Well, there's a lot of great episodes in season 3. Don't get me wrong, but there's a lot of great episodes in season 6. So I would go season 4, season 5, maybe a tie between 3 and 6, then 7, then 8, and then 2, then 1.
Well, the thing is, I've been watching, as Nicky has. I've been watching those episodes recently.
It's not just the writing, by the way, guys.
All right.
The animation.
You interrupt what I say.
Fine.
I noticed that in season 6, 5 and 6, but even in season 6 a little bit more, there are even some hints of what's to come in those episodes that I'm not quite sure I totally like on some of the things.
Sure, but you do
of kind of the humor, I guess.
You see
just small, very small. I mean, I love those seasons, nevertheless,
but it's not just the writing that was really good at that point. It was the animation was really funny. They paid a lot of attention to subtlety and nuance, and the characters moved in a more flamboyant way, especially Homer. His eyes were more googly, which looked funnier.
Well, they were just it's not just that they were more flamboyant, they were just more expressive in their emotion. They were more nuanced in their emotion.
Right.
They ran the gamut of emotions. That's what makes them funnier.
But if you look at the episode,
nuance is funny, and things that when we can see life projected back to us, when we can see life that we live, and we can see that expressed or exhibited to us. Wait, how am I trying to say this? Look, when something is reflected, when our lives are reflected back to us and we can see the minutia and the details and the nuance of all that, it's funny to us because we can.
You really see this.
We relate to it, and yet there's. It's obvious it's a cartoon, but I mean, real life is full of nuance and emotions.
Okay.
And it's not.
Well, this
anyway
kind of animation is really exemplified in the last Exit to Springfield episode, which is probably maybe the best episode of The Simpsons. A lot of people
think it's the best episode of The Simpsons.
There's a point where Abe Simpson and his group of old people are talking to Mr. Burns, and
written by
Smithers.
Jay Kogan and Wallace Wolodarsky or something like that.
So Jay Kogan, Wally Wolodarsky, or
Wolodarsky.
Yeah, they wrote Last Exit to Springfield.
Wally or Wallace.
Anyway, just look at the animation of the scene between Abe Simpson and the old people talking to Mr. Burns and Smithers. There's such nuances in that one scene.
Not just that, but also they do a little parody
on the Grinch, and they really just
the way they animate Mr. Burns, they really just focus on how it animated, how the Grinch Stole Christmas, the cartoon that I'm sure you guys all saw growing up.
But there's, even in season 3, when Homer he fantasizes about going to a chocolate land, just the way he moves is so, there's a lot of expression and excitement and flamboyance in the way he moves.
Glee,
and it's really funny.
And it's really funny that there's all this chocolate in the world, and he's biting it and eating it. The lamppost, the bunny's all made of chocolate. And then he goes in front of a store, and he's like, wow, chocolate, half price. It's like, why does he need to go to a store to buy? He's amazed by it being discounted half price, and yet everything else is made of chocolate. It's just so ridiculous.
Anyway, check out The Simpsons from back then. Certainly by season 10 especially, The Simpsons was not animated like that anymore. The animation was not as funny to look at, and that's part of the reason why The Simpsons was so good in the first 8 seasons.
Right.
Anyway, let's get back to vegetables. So you would say?
So I like carrots. And it's good. I love carrots.
Sure, I like putting
Sauteed.
lemon juice on carrots.
Lemon juice, very good idea.
But when it comes down to it,
A crudité kind of a thing.
what am I going to eat with dinner? Look, if I didn't have any dietary limitations, sure. Baked potatoes.
That's a good one right there. Potatoes. I love potatoes.
Yeah, but you know what? The thing about vegetables...
Hold on. Let me just get into a baked potato.
I was going to. The thing about vegetables, though, is usually you need to add something to it to make it good. So like a baked potato, you're not going to eat it without butter and salt and pepper, right?
That's not true at all.
You're going to eat it just by itself.
Sometimes I do.
No.
Yes, I do.
I don't believe it.
You better believe it. You better believe it.
I don't believe that is true.
That is so true.
Why
it's
is
unbelievable.
Why is it
to
with a
say
baked
that it's
potato? Usually it's cut in half. You need to dig it out. But like we eat the skins on French fries, right? So why don't we eat them on the baked potato?
You can.
You can, but people don't.
Sometimes they do. I do. Sometimes. But anyway.
By the way, Edinburgh, they are known for baked potatoes, aren't they?
Well,
They're stuffed baked potatoes.
Edinburgh is known for actually just or potatoes, haggis, neeps, and tatties. Isn't that what it is? Tatties would be the potatoes, right?
I guess so.
But anyway, I was gonna say that baked potato, you put some melted butter in there.
I just said that.
No, but yeah, put some melted butter, some pepper, some poivre, some du sel, salt. Is very good. It brings me back to childhood. I love that. Or sometimes people might put a, sour cream in there or something like that.
Now, what about
you can put some cheese.
What about this? I don't know if this is a vegetable or a grain, because I don't know. Corn on the cob.
Corn is a vegetable.
Is it? Is it not a grain?
Well, actually, our corn. Well,
I guess corn is a vegetable, right? It's got to be a vegetable.
We're gonna maybe have to.
I do love corn on the cob. All right, we just took a little bit of brief moment just to look up corn and
whether or not it was actually
a vegetable or a grain. Here's what it is: it's a vegetable, a grain, and a fruit. So
Because
vegetables is one of those wild childs, They like to be a part of all the groups.
But corn, I love corn on the cob.
Sure, you put some butter, salt, and pepper on that.
Or you can just eat it. Nothing on it actually, because if it's got the sweetness to it, delicious. I'm very hungry right now, so I'm actually talking about this food is making me even hungrier.
But again, another one of those foods I can't eat right now.
By the way, hold on. Let's talk about this. You know what else is? Wait. You know what else is a good vegetable?
What?
Onion.
I don't believe that's a vegetable.
Is that true?
I don't know anymore. I don't know. Is it a fruit? I don't know. I don't know anymore.
No. Actually.
I don't know if onions are a vegetable. I'm going to say that right now. I don't know.
I got to look this up, Nicky. I got to look it up.
Because, everybody knows tomatoes are fruits and because they have seeds. Onions and garlic, they're alliums. I don't think they're...
Onion is a vegetable.
Oh, I guess an onion is a vegetable.
Boy, now I feel like, why did I even need to look that up?
Well, because we're confused, We had to look up corn, which is all three of them,
Because tomatoes, okay, this is how you know, basically.
If it has seeds, it's a fruit,
No, that's actually not how it is. Usually, why corn was considered all three was... corn, the leafy part of the plant is usually considered part of the vegetable, I guess. And the thing that's growing from it, or maybe that's not a correct way to think. Seeds. That's how I always thought of a fruit, is if it has seeds.
Well, anyway, onions, I do love onions, but I found out
by the way,
recently...
onions, the reason also is onions grow in the ground.
Right.
That's part of the root of it.
Well, we clearly don't know quite enough about this topic.
No, onions certainly grow in the ground.
Anyway, I do like onions, but I found out fairly recently, that I am slightly allergic to onions.
No, I love onions, but
you know what?
not eating onions because they do make your breath smell
No,
bad.
it's not just that. Alliums in general, they don't just make your breath smell bad, they make you smell bad. And I don't like that.
That's right. It seeps through
your pores, your body odor. You don't smell good after eating alliums. It's not just your breath, okay? I hate to break it to you folks, but if you're okay with smelling bad, not just your breath, but your whole body, then go ahead, eat those alliums, eat the garlic and the onions. But I'm just saying that's the case.
It is an allium, and the allium is the genus for onions. So they're all related. That's why garlic is related to onions in that sense.
And you want me to cut out things? No, duh, that they are all a part of the allium family.
No, but what I'm saying is the allium genus, you're not even getting it. It's the genus, not the family. The allium genus is the onion genus.
Okay. Anyway, also shallots go in there. I do like. See, here's the thing: I like cooking with those things, but I made a decision that I do not want to smell bad, and these things make you smell bad. Okay, understand that.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm even second guessing myself. These things grow in the ground.
What does it mean to say they grow in the ground? I don't understand that. Aren't you getting it off of some kind of stalk?
No, it's growing in the ground. You understand?
So you're saying
you pull it out. It's like the root of it, basically.
Okay. Well, they are hence the name root vegetables, right?
That's right.
Oh, time out.
Are we getting confused? Those are what root vegetables are. And are there...
Time out. Here we go. Beets. I love beets. I love beets.
Beets are very good.
And I'm not just talking about the band from Doug, who sang songs such as I need more allowance, yodelay-hee-hoo. Why? Because I do. Yodelay-hee, yodelay-hee. And then also killer tofu, oh, killer tofu. They had some funny, catchy songs on Doug.
The Beats were kind of supposed to be sort of like the Beatles in a way, but sort of a more modern version of that.
But we're talking about the vegetable beets, and I love having some cooked beets with goat cheese. That is a great combination. I don't care who you are or who you're talking to. That's a great combination. If a restaurant has that, I will order that.
Beets, they'll make your pea turn a darker shade, I will say.
A darker shade of winter?
A darker shade of pale. What is
Right.
it? How does this? What's the song? Whiter shade of pale.
Right. Or I was saying a hazy shade of winter, right? That's the other one.
Is it Procom Haro? Is that their name?
Something like that. Anyway, yeah, beets are very good. I love them. In fact, at one point I was drinking beet juice. It's not very good. I couldn't do it.
No. Procol Harum is what it is.
If you're watching this video right now, if you see Max bending down a lot, it's because he keeps looking things up. Just stick to your guns, Just we'll preface by saying, look, we're talking about, the main subject is vegetables, and so sometimes you get things wrong. We're not experts on vegetables, but we are experts on what we like.
Let's see. Oh, what about asparagus?
Asparagus is good. It's not my favorite by any means.
It's not my favorite, but I do like a good asparagus.
Oh, well, time out. What about artichokes? I love artichokes. Those are good.
Wait, artichokes.
Yeah, artichoke hearts. I'm sorry, artichoke hearts. You just bite into one of those. Yeah. Those can be very juicy and succulent.
Well, artichoke hearts can be very good. Yeah,
I do love those.
What about an artichoke dip?
That's good. It's usually, they call it artichoke dip, but there's like a lot of other ingredients in there. It's like, what is this, a cheese dip almost?
Well, Anyway, asparagus can be very good. I don't know what you're talking about, but it can make your pee smell.
What are you
so
talking
watch
about?
out.
I said it can be good. But broccoli, it's one of the healthiest vegetables, and it's also, I think, the best one.
You think broccoli's the best one?
Well, unless we're bringing lettuce into the game, because I don't consider lettuce the same kind of thing as other vegetables.
Well,
you
I
know,
mean,
it's not. It's they're just leaves. You know.
Well, isn't that what that is? You know.
I don't know. I usually think that vegetables have to have some sort of, no matter how small it is, that there's a little bit of carbohydrate count in it, and I feel like
It's called, the technical term would be called a leaf vegetable.
Well, I do love butter lettuce, but salads are great, and that's probably my go-to. Maybe I'll say my favorite. Okay, I will. I'll revise my earlier statement. Salads are my favorite. I know, or lettuce is my favorite vegetable.
What about turnips?
What about them?
You get some sliced or radishes. Radishes, yes.
What are you talking about? No, those are definitely not even close to my favorite.
No, but get a salad. You get a little bit of radish in there. You get a little bit of. You put some matchstick carrots in there, or even maybe or shredded carrots in there. You get some. I know this is a fruit, but you add maybe some cucumber in there, and
I can't eat cucumbers.
I'm not talking about what you can eat. I'm talking about what I like.
It's not even that. I'm not a big fan of cucumbers.
I love cucumbers.
But
why?
I do.
You know why I love cucumbers? Can I just say why I love cucumbers?
But
can I say
I do like pickles.
See, why do you always? You don't ever let me. You don't ever let me.
Because I just wanted to say that.
Let me just say. You know why I love cucumbers?
Why?
Because I'm cool as a cuke. I mean, right.
You're cool as a cucumber? I don't think so. Now, here's the thing. Something I really like, and it comes from the cabbage family.
Why would you say I don't think so?
What?
Why would you say that?
What?
I'm not as cool as a cuke.
Because you're saying something like that.
Why?
No, people don't say that.
Yeah,
cool
they
as
do.
A cuke? In
that song, I'm hip, they say that.
More like cool as a cuckoo.
Okay, you might want to cut that one out.
But something related to pickles, sauerkraut. Now, sauerkraut is fermented cabbage, and I love sauerkraut.
I don't like it.
Also,
I kind of like it.
It's very good for you. It's chock full of natural probiotics. One of the biggest sources of probiotic you can find. Now, probiotics, it's debatable whether or not those are actually good for you. I suppose coming in a natural form,
they're not bad for you.
They should be good for you. But again, another one of those things I can't have. I'll react in a weird way right now to it. So,
one of the best meals I had in Europe when I first traveled there was in Prague, of all places. I had this roasted duck with some red.
I had that when I went to Prague. I went before him.
There was potatoes.
No, there were potato dumplings.
Potato dumplings, even better. There was
red and white cabbage.
But I think they were fermented, so I think it was sauerkraut actually.
Are you sure? I don't think so.
I think so.
It was very good.
Cabbage, also radicchio, very good too. By the way,
that's radicchio.
You might hear a sort of a post-nasal drip kind of sound coming in the background.
That's our sink.
That's our sink. I don't know why it's making that noise, but it has done that since we moved in.
Sure. We could just go through it. I guess the main point is vegetables can be very good. Food can be very good. That's what it comes down to. What I'm trying to say is people are very closed-minded. They're not willing to try things.
Who's closed-minded?
I know people. They like what they like, and they don't eat what they don't like.
Okay, that made sense.
People are closed-minded. I'm like, hey, I'll try anything at least once, unless it's something gross and icky. Ew.
Well, that's not. You won't try anything just once.
No, that's what I'm
It's
saying.
Not true.
But I used to be closed-minded too. I used to not like sushi. Now sushi is one of my favorite foods of all time. You know? So what's that about?
It just means you were closed-minded in the past.
Exactly. I used to be closed-minded. I urge you who are closed-minded to different foods to open your mind, and you'll discover a world of foods you've never really understood you could appreciate in the past, including vegetables. Lots and lots of vegetables.
Sushi, I think, is very good.
Now, something I could never get behind was dried seaweed.
I was going to say that myself, Nicky.
Couldn't get behind it.
I like the seaweed when it's wrapping around the sushi roll.
Maki rolls, I guess.
But I do not like dry seaweed. My older brother and sister would love getting it when they were younger, and I was just like, this is disgusting. I do not like it.
Now, is that considered a vegetable? Seaweed? It comes from the sea.
It's a weed of the sea?
I guess so. But I will say this. Nothing beats broccoli, probably. Although, man, the beets can be really good. I mean, there's just so much out there. You know, lettuce.
When you get those cubed beets in a restaurant, a nice restaurant, and you get some of the juices.
No, you get those
beets.
sliced beets.
No, cubed beets.
No, sliced.
Cubed.
No, sliced.
Cubed.
Slice. We're talking about burrata. I mean, what's the place
not
called?
Burrata.
It was called Beretta.
Beretta. No,
They
that
had
wasn't
these.
sliced. It was cubed.
No, it was sliced.
Wasn't it cubed?
It was not cubed. It was sliced beets with slices of goat cheese in it. It was.
No, but there was juice. The juice is from.
You got to get the juices.
You got to get the juice. If you're gonna get beets, you got to get the juices. Anyway,
So what else is there anything we got to say about vegetables?
well, let's see. Was there anything we're missing here? You know what I don't like having to do though, even though people like getting their vegetables fresh, their stalks of lettuce fresh. Me getting those stalks, it takes a long time, and I have to tear it apart.
Hold on, time out.
Wash it. I like getting it in a bag. I don't care. I don't mind getting it in a bag. You know, that's
Time out.
pre-washed,
I will
you know,
say this.
pre-washed.
During the quarantine, there was a time where I was getting the romaine lettuce stock, the hearts, romaine hearts.
Yeah.
And I realized eventually that I took out, this was in a bag, and I took the romaine hearts out, and I was going to cut them up. And there were a bunch of little tiny bugs on them. It was gross. And they were so small, they were falling on our table. I was like, oh my God.
Oh.
I was just like, I do not like this at all. Ever since then, I made sure I'm only buying lettuce that is in a bag that's triple washed, or it might be in a container and it's washed, but you might need to wash it again.
Well, that's not true. When we go to our sister's place, and we're preparing dinner, she'll get the stalks or the hearts and
Look, I don't know,
and we'll wash that, and it's all fine. You just gotta look. You gotta
but
walk.
I don't see what the problem is with getting the bagged stuff.
Neither do I, Nicky. Neither do I.
They do the work for you. I mean,
They
gosh.
do the work for you.
And it's not like it's better the other way.
I don't find it to be better.
There you have it.
I don't get it.
Now, they don't bag every kind of lettuce. I mean, there are the red leaf lettuces, although I think that you can get that in like a container, I think. I think I saw that the other day. But yeah, salads are definitely a go-to meal for me. And that's a good thing.
Salads are very good, especially you maybe you get a little meat, you chop that up, put that in the lettuce.
Now, here's what I do for
Throw
a
that
dressing,
in there.
though, is all I do, you can do this at home, very easy, just some olive oil or sesame oil is what I've been doing lately, and just some salt, and that's your dressing. That's it. That's all you need.
Well, you know what I've been doing lately? I'm not even putting any dressing on. What I've been doing is I've been kind of just using the, I'd have like maybe a pork chop, or some chicken. I will wrap the chicken in the lettuce and have a sort of a lettuce wrap kind of
That's
thing.
a bit messy, if you ask me.
It's not actually.
If you want a true salad, you cut up the chicken and throw it into the salad.
I wasn't saying I was going to have a true salad. Or what I'll do is I'll just snack on the lettuce. Just eat the lettuce. Have the chicken, then eat the lettuce, snack on it.
That's.
I don't mind it. I like it. Nothing on it.
Is that what you would prefer, though?
I
don't think so. I don't think it.
Sometimes having too much oil, that does give me some digestive problems, I feel. Wouldn't you agree with that?
No, I wouldn't.
You wouldn't agree with that?
I would not agree with that.
Too much oil doesn't give you digestive problems.
Too much oil that's in a salmon, like a fish oil, yes.
Oh, we were having salmon a lot during the quarantine, and I started to get a little
nauseous. But I read up on that.
I love salmon, though.
I read up on it. Apparently, having too much fish oil can cause nausea.
I do love salmon, though. It is quite good.
But we're not talking about salmon right now. We were talking about
maybe we should do an
vegetables.
episode about our favorite meats.
I guess so. But we would just go through every single meat there is. I mean,
we got to talk about steak.
What kind of conversation is that? We've already done that before, actually. We talked about steak with Laura, that episode.
Steak. I love steak. You know what, guys?
I'm going to make steak tomorrow.
What I'm going to do right now is after we finish this recording, I'm going to sit down and have myself some dinner.
Mm-hmm. A nice chicken salad with butter lettuce.
I'm not going to have a chicken salad. I'm just going to have maybe some chicken and then maybe wrap the chicken with some lettuce.
Now, here's one last tidbit. A burger. Would you put lettuce on a burger?
Usually, I would... Well, it depends on the type of burger.
If it's a gourmet burger, no. N-O spells no.
Unless the chef desired that. Unless the chef was like, I want maybe a... asparagus or a... Asparagus, by the way. I forgot about asparagus. Put asparagus or maybe a spinach, like maybe a thin leaf that doesn't...
Talking about, you did say asparagus.
Earlier, I didn't say that.
You meant arugula.
Arugula. I'm sorry. That's what I meant. I meant arugula. Maybe if it was like a arugula or a spinach or something like that, that doesn't overburden or it's not overbearing on the burger.
No, I disagree.
I agree. I agree.
I don't think it needs it. And
no,
if I'm the chef, I'm the chef. I am the chef in this situation.
If the chef was saying this is what I want as part of the burger, then I will take the chef's suggestion.
Gourmet burgers.
Maybe you should get one of those things, those devices that people have that cause them to sit up straight. Maybe I should get one.
Gourmet burgers. I don't think they should have lettuce on them. Now, like a more fast food type of burger, or like good food fast, like an In-N-Out burger, a cheaper burger. Yeah, lettuce on it for sure. And you know what? It's good that way. Because it makes it kind of crunchy and it mixes with the juices. But that they usually put iceberg lettuce with that, and that's the kind of lettuce I want. I don't want arugula on my burger. I'm sorry. That's just, you get soggy. I don't think there's a point.
Incorrectamundo. I don't agree. If the chef demands it, I will do what the chef wants.
It's not about what the chef wants. It's about what you prefer.
That's not true. If the chef was like, I'm making this creation, and if the chef was like, this is how I suggest you do it, I will say, yes, I will do it.
No, that's not the point. I will do it. I'm not going to go against what the chef wants, but I'm going to say, oh, what do I prefer? What do I prefer? I'm not telling the waiter what I prefer. I'm just saying in my head, what do I prefer? I prefer there not to be arugula on there. That's what I'm trying to say.
What I'm trying to say is, usually I would agree that lettuce doesn't belong on a burger if it's a gourmet burger. Usually. But I have had burgers that are gourmet that have had lettuce on them that it does go well.
Would you consider yourself a gourmand?
Not necessarily. I don't know. I haven't tasted enough things to No, a gourmand usually is somebody that would only eat gourmet kind of stuff, that has pretentious tastes for food. Right?
I don't think so. I don't think
so.
That's true.
I think so.
I think it's more like just a food connoisseur. or a restaurant connoisseur kind of
I
guy.
wouldn't consider myself to be one because I don't think I've had enough of what's out there.
But I will say this. I do love eating. I love food. And I love vegetables.
Let me just say one thing.
Oh, man. That would have been great to end like that.
On a, like a fast food burger or, like an In-N-Out burger or something like that. I do like lettuce. But that's the thing. What about a gourmet burger that used the crunchiness and it paired well with the patty? Huh? How about that?
Look, I made one of the best burgers I ever had before a couple years ago at home in Los Angeles. You and Brent had it too. And that was just, here's what it was. It was just meat, sourdough bread, butter, lots of it, and mustard. Yellow mustard, people. Not, Dijon,
What are you talking about, Dijon? Dijon's good.
Not on a burger. I'm sorry. I ain't putting that on my burger.
I'm just saying
yellow mustard is the way.
I'm saying yellow mustard, yes, I agree. But Dijon can be good.
For like a roast beef sandwich or something like that, yeah.
Ooh, what
or
about
a pastrami sandwich?
Pastrami. I love... Actually, but you know what? To be honest, I probably would prefer yellow mustard, actually.
Yes, exactly. Look, yellow mustard is great. And that's the bottom line because Nicky said so.
And that's the bottom line. Cause Stone Cold, man, what a charismatic performer,
Sure, same with Dwayne Johnson.
That's
the problem with the WWE these days. I don't think they have charismatic performers like those guys. But to be honest, I haven't watched the WWF or WWE, whatever you call it. I haven't watched it in many years.
People are calling the WWE WWE the WWE, but to me, it's always been the WWF. I mean, when I watched it was WWF, and I just after that I just didn't watch it anymore. I think.
Yeah, I feel like it. Look, me and my friend Jeff, we watched WrestleMania, whatever the one
30.
The one that was in 2014, and it was hyped up, such big hype, and we sat through the whole thing, and we afterwards were like, well, that was really boring, wasn't it? I mean, it was so boring. And then our friend Colin came out of his room and he's like, oh my God, that was so exciting, right, guys? And we're like, okay, not really.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know if it's because we're older and we're watching it and we're realizing it's not that impressive, but I think there's something to it that I think the WWF really hit its stride in the late 90s. And it was...
Well, it was the Attitude Era. It was almost like anything went, Of course, for kids to be watching that, though, it is kind of a bad influence.
We stayed up late sometimes to watch it, or we snuck out of our rooms to watch it. Or we had at that point in time we did have a bedtime.
A bedtime, yeah.
And our mom would catch us sneaking out of her room, and she would yell at us and tell us to go back to our beds. But at a certain point, when we got into 7th grade, when schoolwork started getting in the way, she realized, well, they got to stay up to finish this, and she didn't impose a bedtime on us anymore.
I think it was in 6th grade. It might have been in 7th when I was up trying to finish work and my mom was yelling at me that I was up late. And it must have been shortly after that. She just did the imposition of a bedtime was not there anymore.
Well, we talked about this a bit more in our high school episode on high school and how the hours for students are just all whacked in the amount of homework you're given, even at a middle school age, is too much.
I will say,
and if schoolwork is causing students to stay up later than they should be, there's a problem with that. Okay, but you can check that out in our other episode.
That's right. You should, or a 2-part episode on high school. But we didn't talk about junior high school.
Yeah, but.
Or middle school.
Well, maybe we'll talk about middle school.
What about elementary school? Should we talk about that?
Elementary school.
Wait, but there was
when time seemed to move slower.
But boy, I can't believe it's been 10 years.
But let's wrap this up. Let's wrap this up because this is going to be a lot for me to edit.
All right, I'm just going to say on this final note, I can't believe it's been 10 years since 10 years ago, because I was thinking about it today and I just thought, boy, I came back from
really, this is what you want in the podcast right now?
10 years ago, and I just think, man, where has the time gone? Boy, oh boy. Anyway.
Vegetables, they're great. Gotta love them. Broccoli, my favorite, but also like lettuce for salads. It's also my favorite.
And my favorite salads. I love salads.
Sure.
And I love broccoli and cauliflower and beets. I love when vegetables are made well. Actually, you know what? I don't know if I have necessarily a favorite vegetable. I just have when vegetables are made and they're done well or they're cooked well and they're done and they are paired well with foods. Then and whoever is making it, that's when it's the best.
I forgot to mention one thing: squash and zucchini.
Squash and zucchini. Squash is not. Squash is a fruit.
Right, because pumpkin is a fruit, right?
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. I didn't forget it. Anyway, thank you for tuning into another edition of Splitting Hairs with Max and Nicky.
Wait, was that a way to end it though? Did you want to end on a certain note?
And vegetables are just great. Thank you for
tuning in. So get your daily dose of vegetables and fruit, and you'll be in tip-top shape.
That's not always true. Like me right now, I can't eat most of those things, and if I do, I will be in severe shape. I won't be in good shape.
Let's see. What's the opposite of tip?
It doesn't matter. Let's just say for most of you, eat your vegetables, eat your fruit, and just live a good life.
And get your protein. You need some protein. That's energy right there for you.
Thank you for tuning in to another edition of Splitting Hairs with Max and Nicky.
Tune in next time.
Once again, if you like what you heard or saw today on our special edition of Splitting Hairs with Max and Nicky and like to view or listen to more content from us, please visit our Patreon page, patreon.com/splittinghairs, and become an exclusive member today.